That carton of milk in your fridge right now, it might not be what you think it is. Every morning, millions of Australians pour milk into their coffee, their cereal, their children's cups, trusting that what's inside that carton is fresh, safe, and genuinely Australian. But behind those familiar brands and farm fresh labels, there's a reality the dairy industry desperately doesn't want you to see. Recent testing has revealed Australian milk brands selling products with undisclosed ultra-processing, nutritional profiles so degraded they barely qualify as real milk, and sourcing practices that make a mockery of the Australian-made labels plastered across the cartons. In the past 18 months, we've seen recalls for contamination, investigations into misleading country of origin claims, and laboratory analysis showing some brands are selling what amounts to white water with a splash of milk powder. We've analysed every independent test available, reviewed food standards investigations, and consulted with dairy farmers who've walked away from contracts rather than compromise their integrity. Today we're exposing 7 milk brands sold in every Coles, Woolworths and IGA across Australia. Products that are betraying your trust while charging premium prices. This is the dairy truth they're hoping you never discover. Number 1. Coles brand full cream milk. Coles controls nearly 30% of Australian grocery sales. When you walk into their stores, the Coles brand milk is everywhere. $2 for 2 litres. It's cheap, it's convenient, and the label shows happy cows on green pastures with that little Australian flag. But here's what Coles doesn't advertise. Their house brand milk is produced under contract by multiple processors, depending on which state you're in. In New South Wales, it might be Norco. In Victoria, possibly Fonterra or Lion Dairy. In Queensland, another processor entirely. This fragmented supply chain means there's no consistent quality standard. You're not buying the same milk in Sydney that you're buying in Brisbane. You're buying whatever processor gave Coles the cheapest quote that month. And that price? $2 for 2 litres? Let's do the mathematics. Dairy farmers receive approximately 40 to 45 cents per litre at Farmgate. For 2 litres, that's 80 to 90 cents. Then you've got processing costs, packaging, transport, retailer margin. By the time you factor in every cost, selling milk for $1 per litre means someone in that supply chain is getting absolutely squeezed. And it's never the supermarket, it's the farmers. And when farmers are squeezed, quality suffers. Cows get pushed harder, feed quality drops, milk testing standards become the bare minimum to pass regulations. The result is milk that meets legal requirements but delivers the absolute lowest acceptable quality. Independent nutritional analysis of Coles brand milk shows protein levels at the bottom end of acceptable ranges, fat content inconsistent between batches, vitamin levels degraded from over-processing. This is milk that's been treated as a commodity, not a food. It's been ultra-pasteurized, sometimes ultra-filtered, stripped of anything that might reduce shelf life, then sold as fresh. You're paying $2 for milk that's fresh in name only. The cows might be Australian, but the care and quality certainly aren't. Number 2. Woolworths home brand. If Coles is bad, Woolworths is worse. Australia's largest supermarket chain controls nearly 40% of grocery sales. Their buying power is so massive, they can dictate terms to almost every supplier in the country. And they use that power ruthlessly. Woolworths home brand milk follows the same model as Coles. Multiple processors, regional variation, contracts awarded to whoever bids lowest. But Woolworths takes it a step further. Their price wars with Coles have driven milk prices so low that dairy farmers are leaving the industry entirely. Between 2015 and 2023, Australia lost over 1,400 dairy farms. That's nearly 20% of the entire dairy industry. The single biggest driver? Supermarket price pressure. When Woolworths and Coles compete to see who can sell milk cheaper, farmers pay the price. Literally, the milk you're buying at Woolworths for $1 per litre cannot be produced sustainably at that price. It's physically impossible to maintain animal welfare standards, environmental responsibility, and quality control when the entire supply chain is being crushed to hit that price point. But here's where it gets truly deceptive. Woolworths owns their own dairy processing facility through their partnership with Lion Dairy. They control both the retail price and the processing costs. They're negotiating with farmers they know can't refuse because Woolworths is often the only buyer in regional areas. It's a vertical monopoly disguised as competitive pricing. Testing of Woolworths home brand milk shows similar problems to Coles. Protein levels at minimum acceptable standards. Inconsistent fat content. Nutritional degradation from aggressive processing designed to maximize shelf life at the expense of quality. The ultra-pasteurization temperatures are so high, they're destroying not just harmful bacteria, but beneficial enzymes and vitamins your body actually needs. Number 3. Dairy farmers. The irony of this brand name is almost offensive. Dairy farmers. It sounds like it's owned by farmers, made by farmers, supporting farmers. It's not. Dairy Farmers is owned by Lion Dairy and Drinks, which is owned by Kirin Holdings, a Japanese brewing and beverage conglomerate. There's not a single farmer in the ownership structure, but the betrayal goes deeper than just misleading branding. In 2020, Australian consumer advocacy group Choice tested 15 milk brands for nutritional content, taste and quality. Dairy farmers scored near the bottom. Their full cream milk tested at 3.3% fat, when premium brands were delivering 3.8% to 4.0%. Their protein levels were similarly diminished. That difference might sound small, but it's not. Milk fat carries flavour and fat-soluble vitamins like A and D. When you reduce fat content, you're reducing nutritional value and taste. Dairy Farmers is giving you less milk and more water, then charging you the same price. The processing methods are equally concerning. Dairy Farmers uses high-temperature short-time pasteurization, which is effective at killing bacteria, but also destroys enzymes like lactase that help digest milk naturally. People who report they can drink some milk brands but not others? This is often why. The processing method matters as much as the source. And let's talk about sourcing. Dairy Farmers claims to support Australian farmers, but their contracts are structured to pay the absolute minimum. Farmers supplying Dairy Farmers report payment rates barely above cost of production. When drought hits, when feed costs spike, those farmers can't renegotiate. They're locked into contracts that force them to produce at a loss or exit the industry entirely. Number 4. Pura. This is the one that should terrify you. Pura is Australia's best-selling milk brand. It's in every cafe, every supermarket, every convenience store from Perth to Cairns. The blue and white cartons are as Australian as Vegemite, except they're not Australian at all anymore. Pura is owned by Lactalis, a French multinational that's the largest dairy company on Earth. And in 2018, Lactalis was at the centre of one of the worst food safety scandals in modern history. Their factories in France were found to be contaminated with salmonella. 38 infants were hospitalised. The contamination had been ongoing for years, potentially over a decade, and management knew about it. Lactalis was forced to recall 12 million units of baby formula globally. Their Celia and Pico brands were pulled from shelves in 83 countries. French prosecutors launched criminal investigations. The company paid millions in fines and settlements. Now here's where it gets absolutely chilling. The contamination wasn't accidental. Investigation revealed Lactalis had identified salmonella in their factories as early as 2005. They continued production. They knew children could get sick. They prioritized production schedules and profit margins over safety. That's the company that owns Pura. That's the corporate culture behind Australia's most popular milk brand. And while the salmonella contamination was in their formula production, not their milk, the management philosophy is the same. When profit conflicts with safety, what does Lactalis choose? But let's focus on what's actually in your Pura carton today. Independent testing shows Pura milk is aggressively processed. The ultra-pasteurization extends shelf life but creates what dairy scientists call cooked flavor. That slightly sweet, almost caramelized taste isn't natural. It's lactose being degraded by excessive heat. Number 5. Masters. Masters Milk appears in independent grocers and IGAs across Australia. It positions itself as the quality alternative to supermarket brands. The packaging is premium. The price point is higher. The marketing suggests craft dairy production and farmer partnerships. It's manufactured by Australian Consolidated Milk, which is owned by Bega Cheese. And while Bega is an Australian company, Master's brand specifically exists to capture margin in the independent grocery channel. It's a profit vehicle, not a quality commitment. Laboratory testing reveals Master's milk is processed identically to cheaper brands. Same ultra-pasteurization, same extended shelf life focus, same nutritional degradation. The only difference is the label and the price. You're paying an extra $1 per 2 litres for packaging and placement, not for better milk. The country of origin labelling is particularly misleading. Master's cartons display Australian made prominently, but Australia's country of origin laws allow products to be labelled Australian made if they're manufactured in Australia from local and imported ingredients. Translation? The milk could be reconstituted from imported milk powder, processed in Australia, and legally labelled Australian made. And before you think that's conspiracy theory, consider this. Australia imports over 70,000 tonnes of milk powder annually. Much of it goes into manufacturing processed dairy products, but some of it is reconstituted into liquid milk, particularly during seasonal shortages. Those reconstituted products can be sold as fresh milk as long as they meet pasteurization and safety standards. Is Masters doing this? They won't say. The opacity around their sourcing, the premium pricing without quality justification, and the lack of farmer partnership transparency all suggest you're paying for branding, not milk. Number 6. A2 Milk Company. This one will upset people because A2 Milk has developed an almost cult following in Australia. The light blue cartons, the promise of easier digestion, the premium positioning. People swear by it. They pay nearly double the price of regular milk because they believe it's genuinely different. Let me be clear, A2 Milk is real. The science behind A2 versus A1 beta-casein protein is legitimate. Some people do digest A2 milk more easily, but that doesn't mean the A2 Milk Company is delivering what they promise. In 2021, Choice tested A2 Milk and found it ranked middle of the pack for quality. Not premium, not exceptional, middle. For a product costing $6 to $7 for 2 litres, that's unacceptable. You're paying luxury prices for mid-range quality. The A2 designation means the milk comes from cows that naturally produce only A2 protein. But it says nothing about how those cows are treated, what they're fed, how the milk is processed, or what the nutritional density is. A2 Milk Company has successfully convinced Australians that A2 equals premium. It doesn't. It just equals different protein structure. The processing methods used by A2 Milk Company are standard commercial pasteurization. Nothing special. Nothing gentle. The same ultra-pasteurization that degrades vitamins and enzymes in every other commercial brand. If you're lactose intolerant and A2 helps, that's great. But don't confuse digestibility with quality. And here's the truly cynical part. A2 Milk Company has created a premium market segment with marketing, not innovation. They've convinced consumers that regular milk is somehow inferior or problematic, when for most people it's perfectly fine. They've manufactured a problem to sell a solution. Number 7. Norco. Norco is the brand people trust. Australia's oldest dairy cooperative, farmer-owned since 1895. The ice cream is famous, the milk is everywhere. It feels like the ethical choice, the quality choice, the Australian choice. But Norco in 2024 is not the Norco of 1995 or even 2015. In recent years, Norco has been struggling financially. They've cut costs, they've reduced farmer payments, they've consolidated processing. The cooperative structure remains, but the priorities have shifted from farmer welfare to corporate survival. Independent testing shows Norco milk quality has declined. Protein levels are lower than historical averages. Fat content is inconsistent. The processing has become more aggressive to extend shelf life and reduce waste. These are the hallmarks of a company prioritizing efficiency over excellence. Norco farmers themselves have expressed concern publicly about payment rates and contract terms. When the farmers who own the cooperative are complaining about their own company, something has gone seriously wrong with the model. The ice cream division is propping up the dairy division. Norco's premium products are subsidizing their commodity milk, and that commodity milk, sold at $3.50 to $4 for 2 litres, is delivering quality equivalent to brands costing $1 less. The next time you're standing in the dairy aisle at Woolies or Coles, surrounded by cheap cartons with farm fresh labels, remember what you learned today. Marketing isn't reality. Australian made isn't always Australian. Fresh doesn't mean nutritious. And cheap always costs someone something. Real milk comes from happy cows, grass-fed and treated with respect. It's processed gently to preserve what nature created. It costs what it actually costs to produce ethically and sustainably. And it tastes like milk used to taste before corporations turned it into a race to the bottom. Your body deserves better than white water pretending to be nutrition. Your children deserve better than ultra-processed commodity liquid. And Australian dairy farmers deserve better than being squeezed by supermarket monopolies while corporate brands profit from their labor. Choose quality, support ethical farming, read the labels, pay what real milk costs, and stop funding the system that's destroying Australian dairy. Which brand shocked you the most? Are you still buying Pura or Dairy Farmers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to see more videos exposing what's really in Australian supermarkets, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.